I didn't know anything about the window cleaning industry. I thought when he said cleaning windows, I thought he meant that like when you pull up to a stoplight and there's like a homeless guy wanting to clean the windows on your car for $1 or whatever. What's up guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm super excited to be recording this video and to start putting out regular YouTube content, which is something that I've never done. But first, who am I? My name is Ryan Johnson. I am 27 years old. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Brittany, and I do not deserve her, super grateful for her, and we have 3 kids together. So we have our 6-year-old Layla, 6-year-old daughter Layla, we have our 3-year-old son Bentley, and then our 1-year-old daughter Scarlett. And I am the owner of a company here in Phoenix, Arizona called Reach Window Cleaning. And Reach Window Cleaning is now a 7-figure business. We did about 1.6 million in revenue last year, and it pays me multiple 6 figures annually and has allowed me to live the lifestyle that I've always wanted, and it's given me everything that I've ever wanted in life. So the whole purpose of this channel and the reason why I'm recording this and spending all the time on this is because I want to share with you the secrets of the trade, all of the things that I've learned, and exactly what I did in order to get Reach Window Cleaning to where it is today. So here at Reach Window Cleaning, we focus on 3 key services. So in the beginning, we just did window cleaning. Now we do window cleaning at a high level. We do sunscreen installation, so that's pretty specific to Arizona. It's like big, thick mesh screens that cover an entire window, and they're designed to help with the heat. So we build and install those, which helps with our summer slowdown. We actually have like the opposite seasonality of most window cleaning businesses because our winters are pretty busy, but our summers are slow. And we also do Christmas lights installation. So of our 1.6 million in revenue, about 600K of it last year was from Christmas lights. We do those as a lease model, so we own all the material, we lease it to the customers. And it's probably my favorite service overall just because we're just selling happiness to people. All right, so you guys probably hear this saying a lot, and it's one that I've thought about often, is that everybody sees the wine, but they don't see the crushing of the grapes. So what you guys see today, like this awesome brand that we have with Reach Window Cleaning, the cool supercar, and like all these things that I get to enjoy in my life now, it hasn't always been this way. In like the summer of 2018, I got home from serving a 2-year mission for my church. And I got home from my mission and I thought that I knew what I wanted to do with my life. But now I know that I was way off in what I was going to do. So my plan was to come home, go to medical school and become a dentist. But anyways, I started going to school and I just absolutely hated it. It just seemed like such a waste of time. I would be at school all day and then I would get done with school and then I would have to like do homework, and like I just spent all my time on my computer and it just seemed like such a waste of time. Around this time, there was a buddy from my mission who told me that he has been, for years, he has cleaned windows in Utah. So I didn't know anything about the window cleaning industry. I thought when he said cleaning windows, I thought he meant that like when you pull up to a stoplight and there's like a homeless guy wanting to clean the windows on your car for $1 or whatever. Like I had no idea that people paid for a window cleaning service on their home. I had no idea it was even an industry. And he was like, yeah, dude, I make 50 bucks an hour. Like everything's good. I just go knock on doors and get clients or whatever. And that kind of scared me because I had been knocking on doors as a missionary and knew that I didn't like it. But I was just like, you know what, I'll try this out. So I actually paid him to come out, and then I bought like $200 or $300 worth of equipment just from Home Depot. And you guys probably know what I'm talking about, the crappy squeegees and equipment that wasn't very good, but it was enough to get us started. And he kind of taught me how to do it. He kind of showed me how he did door knocking. I started doing that for just a short period of time, but I just really hated doing it. Maybe you guys can relate. So I pretty quickly changed to like focusing on relationships and then going really hard on putting out flyers. So things started to work a little bit. So they didn't work great. Like I said, I'm from a really small area, but I started to actually make a little bit of money. So between going to college, you know, on the weekends and things, I would go and clean windows, and I started making like, you know, $1,500 to $2,000 a month. And this was late in 2018. What I didn't realize at the time is that I don't think I could get where I am today, or I know I couldn't get where I am today where I was. So what I decided to do is stop going to college because I realized I could at least start making, you know, $4,000 or $5,000 a month and do fairly well for myself there in my small hometown. I started cleaning windows and started doing fairly well, like making $4,000 or $5,000 a month throughout the spring. Things were going pretty well. I started meeting people who had done big things, meeting people who had built 7-figure window cleaning businesses, which I like blew my mind. I had no idea that that was a thing. I met I met my biggest mentor, Josh Latimer. And then I'll never forget, in April, I hopped on a webinar that he was doing, and I'm pretty sure that his webinar was to sell SendGym. So if you guys have ever heard of SendGym, it's just a direct mail software. So anyways, on this webinar, Josh taught a little bit about how big your business could get inside of your service area. And I had never even thought of these things before. I knew that probably we would need to move eventually if I wanted to build a big business, but I'd never done the numbers. And the numbers he shared, they were very simple. It was, you can go to this website called statisticalatlas.com. It's still out there. You can go there, you can look up income levels in your area, and you can figure out how many total people in your area make over $80,000 per year. And then what you do is you take that number and then you multiply that number by 10%, understanding that you can realistically probably get 10% of them to purchase your services, and then multiply that number by your average ticket and then that number by your repeat rate. So for example, if there's 1,000 people in your area, hopefully there's more, if there's 1,000 people making that kind of money, realistically, you could probably over time acquire 1,000 of them as customers. If your average ticket is $350, then that would be $350,000 in a year. And then you multiply that by your repeat rate, say they go twice a year, then it would be 700K would be like the max in your area, which would be a pretty small business relatively. And it would probably take a long time to get to that point. So anyways, Josh taught all of these things on this webinar. And I felt like one of the strongest feelings from God that I've ever felt in my life. I just felt this like burning inside of me that we had to move and we had to do it quickly in order to do the things that I wanted to do in life. So if I remember correctly, this was on like a Tuesday. My wife got home from work and I told her, hey, we have to move. And like, we have to move like now. And bless her heart, she's been so supportive. She's been so great to me. She was just like, okay, like I hate my job anyway. So like we might as well move. So that was on a Tuesday. The next Thursday, so 2 days later, she called out sick from work and we looked at houses to rent. So we looked at a few houses, we decided on one. Our rent before, we were living actually in an apartment above a barn in Pima, which sounds crazy, right? Our rent was $500 a month. And like the cheapest place that we could find here that was an actual house was $1,300 a month. This was on a Thursday. And then the following Monday, we ended up moving. So it was like very quick, within like a week of me watching that webinar, we had moved and decided to start on our own. And like I said, we didn't have very much money when we started, but I did learn from Josh a method that I teach to a lot of my people that are in my coaching group and stuff now about flyers. So we moved here with a box of 10,000 flyers. And our flyers are very specific. They weren't that great. Our flyers or our door hangers now are better. But the important thing is that they had a spot where we could handwrite in a price, and it had a picture of me and my wife and advertising our services. So we moved here with pretty much no money, that box of flyers, and then my wife and I just adopted this mindset that we were going to either put out flyers or we were gonna clean windows, and that's all we did with our working time, like 8 to 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, that's all we did. And that was the foundation to get to where we are today. So a few months into us starting the business, we found out that my wife was pregnant, and eventually she was too pregnant to help. So I was kind of back to being on my own. We had actually originally moved here and planned for her to get a job, and that just never happened because she ended up doing flyers with me, and then she would actually go out and clean with me in the summer. So bless her heart, she went through a whole summer of like hottest, first time she'd ever been in Arizona for a summer, putting out flyers and things, but eventually she was too pregnant to be able to help. And I got to a point where I was getting pretty overwhelmed. So we started having our first like $10,000 months, and that's when I hired my first technician. So what you see today would not have been possible without having like the proper systems in place, and more important than even the systems is having the proper people in place and hiring good people. So around that $10,000 mark, I hired my first technician so that he could go and do all of the window cleaning and do all of the service. And then I still just spent all of my time distributing flyers, building relationships, answering the phone, making sales, etc. And then it just went on like that for a while, that when we got to our first $20,000 a month, we hired another person. Each individual technician could do about 10 to 15K a month, so you can kind of figure out the math there. But eventually we got to a point where we were $1 million company, and what the people look like today for our company is we have our operations manager, Bryce. He handles everything operations, so making sure the trucks have what they need, making sure the trucks are clean, all of our training, hiring our technicians, everything technician related is taken care of by Bryce. We have our office manager, Tawny, who does all the phone answering. She handles she manages all of the office people, who I'll explain here in a second, and just basically make sure everything's running, all the scheduling's being done correctly. If you're watching this and you're just getting started in your window cleaning business, or maybe you're starting to scale a little bit, it's probably around that 30K per month range where you really need to hire some office help. and get you away from answering the phones. So Tawny, so who she manages is we have 2 outbound dialers. So we have 2 guys who full-time, their name are Michael and Dwayne. Full-time, they call our customer list and try to get them back on the schedule. So she manages them. And then we also have a virtual assistant in the Philippines named Benna. So Tawny's in charge of them as well. And then Michael, who's on the phones, is also, you could say, a sales manager. Although this time of year he's calling our list, and then during Christmas light season he runs quotes in person. And then depending on the season, we have between like 8 and 18 technicians. So during the Christmas light season we ramp up, we add a whole bunch of people. Right now in February, we're down to about 8 technicians total. I would just encourage you to hire people, build the base system, and then over time as you learn from it and as you just start to learn other things, like you'll just improve the systems. And then eventually once you have proper systems in place and you have proper people in place, you can scale to 7 figures. In order to scale to 7 figures and then more importantly, continue to grow after 7 figures, what we had to get really good at is figuring out our marketing. So there's a few that have worked really well for us over time. I don't want you guys to get too focused on specific levers because there's all kinds of marketing that can work, but what's worked really well for us over the years is flyers and door hangers, which we still do, yard signs, which we still do, and then we got really good at Facebook ads. Specifically though, if you're gonna run Facebook ads, you have to be willing to focus on the back end and focus on the long-term customer. So many people run Facebook ads and they want to get this like crazy big ROI on the front end, and that usually doesn't happen if you're doing it correctly. So that's why you have to get really good at rebooking customers, which I want to talk about as well. But Facebook ads, Google ads, and then Google LSA absolutely crushes for us. The next thing that we had to do that I would argue is even more important than the marketing, or just as important, is having really good systems in place for rebooking customers. So there's a few things that we do in order to do this. Number one is service plans. We've been selling service plans for about the last 1.5 years, where we're actually giving a really good offer to our customer in order for them to sign up for window cleaning on a frequency. As of yet, service plans have not been super common inside of the window cleaning industry, but they're becoming a lot more common. And my goal, and some of the others that I've talked to in the industry, is to make it to where we're just like pest control, where it's just normal. It's just expected that you're on a service plan. The second thing we do is every single month we text every single one of our customers who hasn't been serviced in the last 3 months. And we consistently book between 10 and 20 grand every single month just from texting our lists. And then one thing that's pretty new for us that I'm super excited for 2026 is we recently added our call center. So as of right now, we have 2 full-time employees who their whole job is just to call our customer list and get them back on the schedule. Now, everything has definitely not always been perfect, and even now, Reach Window Cleaning isn't perfect. We're always learning, we're always growing. There's a few, I guess, mistakes that I want to talk about that I've made over the years. Number one is that I feel like I've never been very good about enjoying the present moment. I've always been so focused on the future and what's ahead and what's coming next that I feel like I've missed out a little bit on my kids being really little. And one thing I've learned to do recently, like as of the last 6 months, is start to just be able to turn it off. So one thing that's helped me a lot, and I hope this is helpful for you, is that I do my best to not touch my phone when I'm home. But since I've been doing that, my mental health and mental clarity and my ability to show up for the business has increased drastically. So just get home, I'm home, I put my phone away, I'm not scrolling Instagram, I'm not thinking about the business, I'm just spending present time with my family, and I can tell you it's made the biggest difference in my relationships. Another mistake I feel like we made for years is just pricing too low. So there were years where we were trying to just be middle of the pack as far as window cleaning companies and really compete on price. And I don't really think that there's any advantage to being in the middle. There's an advantage to being the cheapest, obviously, because you show up, or people are interested in that because they just want the cheapest thing. And there's also an advantage to being the most expensive, because then you're premium and they know you bring a lot of value and you're attracting the right type of people. So now we're always on the high end, or really close to being the highest priced company in the area, and it allows me to have more profit, take care of my people better, and most importantly, just be able to enjoy life more. And then the third thing that I could think of as far as the biggest mistakes that I think I've made is I spent years where I didn't really understand my numbers. I didn't understand our ROI for marketing. I thought certain marketing was crushing it for us when it really wasn't working very well. I didn't understand our average ticket. I didn't understand our repeat rate and the importance of getting customers back on the schedule, because I was just so focused on creating or bringing in new customers. But once I started to focus on these things, our profit got better and everything got better. Everything got easier in the business, just understanding numbers. So I would encourage you to really understand your numbers and focus on them. I know it's hard to look at your numbers sometimes because they don't lie, right? So it's like, makes you feel bad or it makes you feel stressed or whatever, but if you don't look at them and if you don't understand them, you can't improve them. So today my role inside of Reach Window Cleaning is just to manage my managers. So I still handle our marketing, although I have a marketing team, I just oversee it. And then most of the time I'm not talking to hardly any of my employees, and unless it's during our meetings. I really just talk to my managers. They kind of let me know and if there's issues that maybe they can't resolve or if there's something that they need my help with. But for the most part, they take care of their jobs and the company runs without me. In fact, last year I actually went and spent a whole month in Hawaii. So I took my family, we lived there for a month. And it was so cool to see that like my team just handled everything. I came home with more money than when I left. And that was just a huge testament to me of what we've built here at Reach Window Cleaning. So now what I do is I spend maybe 10 hours a week inside of Reach Window Cleaning. The rest of my time is typically spent coaching. So I work with over 60 window cleaning business owners who are looking to grow and scale the same way Reach has, and just teaching them how to implement systems, teaching them how to market, how to rebook customers, and how to get their business to the next level. In closing, I think the biggest advice that I would give you is just to stick with it. I listen to Alex Hormozi a lot. He's probably the podcast that I listen to most often. He talks all the time about the person who wins in business is just the person who stays in business the longer. Like if you can just outlast your competition and do it for longer, you're going to be successful. And I promise you, even if you're struggling right now, even if you're the guy that's like doing all the work and you're answering the phones and you're doing all the quotes and you're overwhelmed, I promise you that if you start taking the steps to scale and grow and start to build a team, it gets easier. You have different problems, but you'll become better at being able to actually solve those problems, and your life will get better and you won't be so overwhelmed. So if you like this video and you got value out of it, it would mean the world to me if you'd hit that subscribe button. I promise you there's gonna be more great content like this coming soon. And if you're building something similar to Reach Window Cleaning, comment below and I'd love to hear your thoughts.